Presentation of the Upstate Racing League tonight, live on location in Lakeland, Florida at the USA International Speedway, a short track synonymous on the iRacing sim, something that pretty much everybody on the short track side of things has competed on. Tonight we do battle for round 6 of 12 under 2015. Upstate Racing League Les Enterprises, MP Roy Incorporated Pro Late Model Series for the NHR 100, and we're glad to have you with us along for the ride on LSRTV and iRacing Live tonight. Evan Pasoko, Cisco Scaramuza with you, and right now the drivers working through the tail end of their qualifying session. We're looking about just 6 minutes away from taking to the grid. Cisco, these guys back on track here for this week's event, coming off of 5 flags from 1 week ago, and a lot of the drivers weren't really sure if we'd be able to get this off, and there's always talking points on this sim, and tonight it's the new build because not a whole lot of people have gotten grips with it, because not a whole lot of people have been able to drive on it. It's been quite an interesting last 2 days. We're throwing these guys into the fire, though, for 100 laps tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, Evan. It's great to be back with you for our short track and Thursday nights, but we're just looking right now and down on the track, and one of the things I have to point out is that I got a chance. I got to take out the old LSRTV Pro Late model out on the track for a little while before this session went up. And the one thing, one of the new build notes that came out was that they had introduced chassis torsion. Well, now, when I was driving around here, I didn't really feel the chassis torsion on there, or I didn't feel anything normally different. But, I mean, we're talking about guys, they've been driving these cars for so long, you get used to driving something like that. And for me, it was just kind of hopping in. But, every little minute change might pay big dividends for a couple of these drivers tonight.
And we talk about small changes on the sim being amplified. You typically expect to see that at something like an intermediate track. We talk about short track racing. If the car is in one piece, that's not really a huge concern as long as it gets around the racetrack. So we shouldn't see a huge effect tonight, but we will see depending on how this race goes. We got 100 laps scheduled at this 3/4 mile speedway. Going to be 75 miles start to finish in the NHR 100. We're excited to get things underway. Qualifying just beginning to round to a close. Let's talk about where we sit in this championship, though, and take a quick peek at last week's results from the 5 flag speedway. Justin Fuller took home the win in front of Stefan Baranek. Nicholas Rasmussen, Dale O'Neill, and Brandon Otto came home inside of the top 5 in that race. So the updated championship standings have Fuller at the top. No surprise there with 2 wins on the season. The big thing that all of these drivers are going for is the chase, and it is a short track racing series with the chase. It's a very unique system that these guys are racing with. Tonight is race 6 of 12, Cisco, on this season. So after tonight, we're halfway through. That doesn't mean, though, that we're halfway through the points battle. After 9 races is when the top 14 drivers get cut down to make that chase. So 14, I think, is fairly generous if you want to get into the championship. So a guy like Justin Fuller with 2 wins, and I guess you'll get some more statistics on him, 4 top 5s, 4 top 10s as well. He's got 201 points way up there. He is in no better of a position than a guy like a Joshua Cotton in 10th, who's got over 50 points less than him. So as much as these guys want to win in these first couple of races, just get points. Just show up every week, get points. Then when we start talking about races 10, 11, and 12, it gets fun. But although you want to go for wins, I think you're going to see a lot of guys there in that chase who tonight just get a top 10, maybe a top 5 points racing. Although you don't like to do it in short track racing, it's not normally known for being a points racing kind of a deal. That, I think, has to be the objective.
And you talk about points racing. I mean, looking at its standings right now, we have a 3-way tie for 6th and at least a 2-way tie for 9th. So, I mean, every little point counts here. Maybe a lap led, maybe one more position. You never know what could get you into these chases. I mean, you look at the Sprint Cup Series or the RSR Series, these, tiny little point gaps. What if, I made a different call that week if I was feeling more aggressive or something like that, or it didn't work out? So, I mean, we talk about it's a 12-race season. You don't have a whole lot of time to do it. So, a couple mistakes, 2 or 3 races where, you have something happen and suddenly you're staring at the points battle going, I got to win.
23 drivers in the practice session put down a lap, and so far 18 of the drivers have put down a qualifying speed. And as the drivers go through their pre-race briefing with the race director Al Smith Jr., we'll go trackside and get set to go short track racing on LSRTV. Let's go down for the opening ceremonies into the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
A big thanks to Jaden Berkey for singing tonight's national anthem. With that, we've got cars on the grid, and we've got 100 laps of short track racing under the lights in front of us. And we're glad to have you with us on LSRTV through iRacing Live. Let's take a look down trackside to the iRacing beams. Starting lineup for tonight's NHR 100, and the NHR pole award goes to none other than the driver of the number 24, defending series champion Brandon Oda with a 26.12. He'll lead us across the start-finish line tonight. Outside on that front row in second goes to the 81 of Joshua Cotton. Nicholas Rasmussen starts tonight in third. That's the driver of the number 11 Chevrolet. Joining him topside on row 2, the 56 of Brandon Wilkinson, and Stefan Baranek, top 3 driver from last week at Five Flags. He'll be in P5.
Starting on the outside is Stefan in the 51 A-Design Wraps machine. Is going to be Justin Fuller, last week's winner. Behind him, Tony Manchi and Dale O'Neill, as well as Charlie Ryan and EJ O'Rourke. That makes up your top 10.
Bruce Hilton going to start tonight at 11th position, 12th spot to the 61 of Dan DeBuke. Brian Rogers Jr. inside on row number 7. That's the number 13 spot for the 12 car. Eric Haggs, number 98 in 14th. And 15th position, the 2, that is Mike Holtzclaw.
Gail Frenier is going to start 16th in the number 4 machine. Jay DeBuke's going to start 17th. AJ Bunch going to start in 18th. CJ LeVere slotted to start 19th. And TJ Graves slotted to start 20th.
And then provisional starts would be handed out to John Ada, who would get 21st, AJ Hamill in 22nd, Al Smith Jr. 23rd, Justin McDuffin 24th, Cody Myers possibly with a 25th spot on the grid. At this moment, though, I think 2 out of those 3 names there at the back not currently on the racetrack, but we're looking at about 22 to 23 cars to get this race underway. USA International Speedway, I mentioned it's a track that a lot of people are familiar with, Cisco. Most people know this track from the street stocks. It's in the rookie series on the sim. We got the late models out tonight for pro late model action. What's the key if you want to win in Lakeland, Florida?
I think the key has got to be keep that car clean. You know, we talk about it, short tracks, you don't really have to worry about the aero package, but one of these things is this is one of those tracks where that wall kind of jumps out at you coming out of the corner. So you got to be careful not to do too much damage to that right side, because you could bend, a piece of the suspension or bend one of the wheels, and that could end up hurting you real bad as the race goes on.
Lights on a pace car go off this time. You get set to get underway at the USA International Speedway. It's a parking lot in real life. This track was torn down in 2012. We've been to Irwindale on this season. Irwindale soon going to join the ranks of this track at tracks that live on in the sim but no longer in the real world side of things. We're excited for this one, though. It should be an exciting one. 14 degrees of banking. It's a track that allows you to get physical, and for a short track at 3/4 of a mile in length, it's a pretty large size as well. There's a lot of room. There's going to be high speeds and definitely a lot of excitement. It marks the halfway point on the 2015 Pro Late Model calendar, and we're glad to have you with us. The pace car gets down and away. The field in the hands of Brandon Auto at a turn number 4. Defending series champion going to get us underway. Green flag flies. The NHR 100 is underway. No doubt about it that the inside, the place to be at turn number 1. 24 to the race lead. Challenge for second. It's Rasmussen to the inside of Cotton. Can't hold it.
And right now, they start to get single file through the top 3. Meanwhile, it looks like Rasmussen wanted to jump to the bottom, but the first fight is between the 96 and the 56. That's Wilkinson and Marinac. They're going at it. Marinac gets a great run out of 4 as they head back down into 1.
A relatively wide track in the corners, but you can see where all that rubber is. It's on the bottom. You want to get low. Look at the 51 car. Going to split the gap. Justin Fuller, top side, passes the 16 of Charlie Ryan, ducks to the inside before the 56 of Brandon Wilkinson can get down there. Obviously, the 56 trying to get to the bottom of the preferred lane. The 51 not letting him have any of it. And with that, Fuller now slides into the number 6 spot, and that leaves Wilkinson, who is going backwards already, started 4th, fallen to 6th. He now will fall to 7th. That being stuck on the top side does not look like a good place to be, because the 16 Jack Daniels machine coming up quickly. Charlie Ryan wants a piece as well.
Yeah, Ryan in that Mustang, he's trying to get a great run heading into the corner there. He gets a great bite on the bottom of the corner. Meanwhile, it looks like they're kind of checked up behind Wilkinson. That's O'Neal behind him, and O'Neal gets into the fence a little bit there, dents up the right front. Looks like he's going to be okay, but you got to watch out for that.
It slows him up. Give the spot to E.J. O'Rourke. So the driver of the number 41 started 10th. He'll jump up, take P9. Dale O'Neal falls to now 10th position. The 54 car, that bright yellow 54, surprising to see that he's had a little bit of a slow start. He was the fastest driver in the practice session with a 26.24 that put him at the top of the practice charts, qualified P8. He has since lost 2 spots. No surprise that because he started in P8, that meant he was on the outside of the racetrack. He has gone backwards. The top 5 cars, with the exception of second place runner Joshua Cotton, all started on the inside of their respective rows. The 81 of Cotton sat on the outside of pole. He's been able to get down in line. The 54 car back in the pack in a little bit of a situation back here. That's Dale O'Neal. He's trying to go back forward. Look to the inside on E.J. O'Rourke. Nothing that time by. He wants to get going forward. Otherwise, the 52 of Bruce Hilton's going to be putting him backwards. You can't sit around and wait at a track like USA. You've got to attack. He'll duck to the inside. O'Rourke's going to give him the lane.
And right now, as I'm looking towards the back of the pack, John Ada, who's one of our provisional starters, we got problems right now. A little bit of smoke coming through the corner. Didn't see who that was, but going back to that, there's a bit of a battle going on between Hag, Ada, and that number 14 of AJ Bunch. They've been kind of fighting amongst each other for these last couple laps.
It is Brandon Auto, Joshua Cotton, Nicholas Rasmussen, Stefan Marinac, and Tony Mongi inside the top 5. Justin Fuller, Charlie Ryan, Brandon Wilkinson, Bruce Hilton, E.J. O'Rourke in 6th through 10th position as we work at the moment on the racetrack. Behind it's that still battle right around O'Rourke that we were talking about. Your leaders have actually been minding their P's and Q's for the most part. You talk about a 4/10 of a second gap between a race leader Odo back to Joshua Cotton as lap number 10 now goes into the works, and from there on out, everybody relatively spread out inside of the top 10, which made that fight for that top 10 spot we were talking about with O'Rourke, Hilton, and even Holtzclaw Wilkinson just on the outskirts of that battle. Pretty much was the only fight on the track at that moment. A couple of guys back of the pack mixing it up, but I think at this moment, everybody inside of the top 10, they're single filed out. Challenge for second could be coming. It looks like Nicholas Rasmussen is trying to get to the back bumper of Joshua Cotton, that fight for P2.
Yeah, right now he's looking towards the back bumper, going to try and maybe diamond it a little bit, get a good run kind of heading out of the corner here. Doesn't look like Rasmussen's going to do it this time, but he's looking pretty strong up there early, and we know he can get it done on these short tracks. But right now behind him, kind of the person lurking, he's been doing this a lot lately, but Stefan Marinac, he's put up some very impressive figures. He's been probably, I would say, maybe the Matt Kenseth so far that I've seen. The guy who just gets top 5 after top 5 after top 5. Maybe he's not the guy, winning every week, but, he's always lurking up there.
And Stefan Marinak, the number 96 car, in fourth on track right now, with the exception of not making the start at Iowa, which has really hurt him. He has gone on to have a very good season so far, but because he missed that one race, he's well down in the championship, but he's actually outside of the top 8 in rookie points as well. Bruce Hilton, your current A to Z Wraps Rookie of the Year standings leader, have 199 points totally accumulated on the season. That's good enough to have him in a very good position as well in overall points on the championship, so he's doing a good job down there in the Rookie of the Year points, as right as Rodney Hack, Dylan Godet, Justin McDuff, 3 additional drivers within 10 points of him. So not only are we talking about a championship, there is also those Rookie of the Year championship on the line for the drivers making their first start in the series. That is well something to keep an eye on as the season goes on. Mike Holtzclaw mentioned a Miller High Life Chevy. Well, he's going the wrong way. It's John Ada making a pass from 22nd to 11th for the A to Z Wraps entry. He'll make the pass on the 2 car, give him P11.
Yeah, we were talking about Ada earlier, so I'm kind of moving through the field. He's up to 12th right now, but he's a man on a mission, provisional starter. But I'm looking back towards the field. No one really else has really come through the field a whole bunch. Speaking of bunch, AJ Bunch has come from 18th, and he's up to 14th now. But, Evan, we're used to kind of seeing that, people starting in the back, coming up front, but it hasn't really happened yet.
And so far, 23 of the drivers that started this race are still on the lead lap, all with the exception of TJ Graves. The number 22 car has had a dismal start to his season. He's led laps, he's been in top 5, top 10 positions, but has been involved in so many late race accidents that he is on a penalized provisional start for this race, and as well has been close on the incident point cap in the first couple of races so far this season. Your leaders are still pretty much even. Again, they have been very even with each other and very consistent since we started this race, and there's no surprise that inside of the top 8 guys in this field at the moment, that at least 7 of them were top 10 cars in practice. Stefan Marinak, though, is the one that's impressive to beat the 96, 13th in practice, and again, it's hard to relate those battles as far as rather the times with the practice and racing and the quals, because practice and qualifying is just based off of one lap, but Marinak's doing a good job of having good race trim, racing going on outside the top 10, still continued on the Hag TV Chevrolet of Eric Hags in a battle. He's 14th.
Yeah, these guys have been continuing to go at it. We've been looking all over, but these guys have been constantly going at it. Brian Rogers Jr. also in the 12 car, as well as CJ LeVere and the 61 of Dan Dubuque. They've been kind of going at it for about the last 10 laps or so, and, it seems like these guys can't really break away from each other. The one gets a good run, maybe gets past the other, but, 2 laps later, they get a good run back, and he's right on the back bumper right now, Eric Hag is, of Mike Holtzclaw on that 2 car.
They continue to battle this battle just outside the top 10. That seems to be where a lot of it's been going on, and a lot of it's Holtzclaw going backwards, which I find interesting because he started 15th, picked up 2-3 spots in the opening 5 laps. He's since lost almost as many as he made up. He'll fall to 14th with Hag making a move on him. There's going to be contact at a turn 4. The 12 is going to get him in the back end as well. That was Brian Rogers Jr. actually as they exit in turn 2 and came down the backstretch. Now they go through 4, and the 12 car of Rogers is hurt, so he'll lose a bunch of spots. I was looking for that play seat Chevy to be somebody to actually make a move on that 2. Instead, the contact, and well, Rogers loses 3 spots in that exchange.
Yeah, it just looked like they just ran out of room kind of there going through the corner and just nowhere for them to go. But TJ Graves made a bit of a bonsai move there, was able to get past Dan Dubuque and now slot in almost right behind CJ Oliveira. He's backed off a little bit to give him a little bit of room, but TJ had an absolutely bonsai move to the bottom there to try and avoid any sort of incident.
And all of that, well, it's contact, it's short track racing, so no caution, we still stay green. Again, nobody has been involved in a really big accident yet. Something that Brandon Otto is going to have to deal with soon, though, which something he hasn't had to deal with to this point, is lap traffic. This is, again, one of the longer short tracks that we talk about with a 20-second lap time. Well, there's 4 drivers, actually now make that 6 drivers as of 2 laps ago, that are over 10 seconds behind him. What that means is, well, Brandon Otto, he's within half a lap of him, so slowly slowly but surely in the windshield of that number 24 is going to start to see more cars. If this green flag stretch continues as we pass quarter distance the last time around, that is going to be a major player in all of this. Lap cars stay high. That's easier said than done, though, Cisco. If they go high in the middle of the corner, that's good because they're about 20 feet up from you. But if they're on your outside, coming off the corner, coming into the corner, as a race leader, you're going to have to change up your line. It could happen to him. It could happen to second, third, fourth, or anybody. That is going to be a treacherous situation. Although those guys are going to try to get out of the way, at some point they're going to affect you.
Yeah, I mean, these cars, they're not VTOL jets or anything. They can't turn on a dime, and there's actually a lot of mass behind these cars, and they aren't as powerful as, say, a Gen 6 or anything kind of above that range, even an SLM. But kind of, the big problem with these cars is just they don't really have the power to kind of, you can't really just point and say, go that way, sort of like what you might see, or at least to more of a respect in some of these higher power cars. But it looks like we have caution. But yeah, it looks like I'm seeing, I believe
Eric
that's
Hagg.
the 65 of Jay DeBook.
Eric Hagg's going to be the one that gets turned around. He's the driver of the number 98 Hagg TV Ford, and that car I see is turned around backwards. It looks like driver's side first into the outside of retaining wall, and that would lead to the first bit of caution flag we see tonight. Just past quarter distance, the 20 of Al Smith Jr., one of the drivers very close to that accident. He's able to get by no problem, but it looks like at least Eric Hagg was involved.
Yeah, it looked like the 44 just caught maybe a little bit of the apron, but either way, he kind of got tight going in the middle of the corner and just nowhere for the 98. He didn't even know what was happening. He just got hit in the door and just boom, right in the wall.
And I can tell you as well that that's not the first time this season that Eric Hagg has been in an incident that is something that is not of his fault. That as well is just another factor of short track racing, so he'll have to deal with that on tonight. How about some pit strategy? The 51 of Justin Fuller. He comes down pit road. He is your championship leader. He is your winner from 1 week ago. He comes in from a top 5 spot. He's the only driver to come in from the top 15.
Yeah, and we kind of saw that a little bit at Martinsville play out. That was a longer track, and we kind of, saw maybe a little pit strategy playing into the hands of a couple drivers, playing out of the hands of a couple more. But one of the cool things is this is a big enough track where you can take 4 tires in one go. We kind of saw, Oxford, you can't really do that. It's a short enough track. Same with Langley. But here at USA, you can actually take 4 tires in one go on these Pro Late models and get out without having to worry about the pace car at all.
Let's talk about these tracks. We talk about a USA Speedway in which it is a very long and very straight front stretch and back stretch. At 5 Flags, where we were last week, it's a very wide track on the straightaways, but you really don't straighten out the wheel a whole lot. You come really high off the corner. Just about when you get the thing pointed forward, you're diving back down. That leaves the bottom open, but it is very difficult to get to. Here, the bottom, if you want to get to somebody's inside, is wide open for nearly 7 seconds from a turn 4 to turn 1, or off of turn 2 down to turn 3. The problem is because there's no banking here at just 14 degrees, you don't feel like you have any lateral grip. You need to get a run off the corner in order to be able to get to somebody's inside. This track, I think, if we get later, again, right now these guys are doing pretty good at it. Might see some guys starting to stick the nose out late and dive bomb in. It's just the nature of the way this track is with it being so flat into the corner, but really off the corner. You got banking in the corner, but it is very imperative to get to the gas as soon as you can off, because these are very long straightaways, probably longer, if not just as long, I'd have to argue, Cisco, as a track like Martinsville, although this track is a quarter mile shorter.
Yeah, you kind of have that, kind of just straight area, and like you said, really the only best way to do it if you don't get a run is to kind of dive bomb it in. And even if you get a run, you're kind of at a point where the way you have to kind of apex off the corner in a way to get to the bottom. If you have a run, it kind of scrubs off any sort of speed as soon as you do it. So it'll be interesting to see how gutsy these guys get as the race goes on. And like we talked about at the top of the program, just kind of points racing versus racing for the win. But yeah, this is definitely one of the tougher tracks to pass on in our schedule, at least.
Lights go off for the pace cars, so we get set to do battle with just in the range of about 66 laps to go when we do get back underway at this 3/4 mile speedway. A 5 flags a half mile, very similar in size to a Martinsville, which is a half mile. It's a large short track. There's a lot that you can do. Caution flag going to be delayed one additional lap as we get some of the guys towards the back half of this group of cars to get sorted out in their proper positions. Currently working on trying to get the standings to you. However, it looks like with the updated iRacing build and such that we don't have the ability to do that at this moment. The top 10 look like this though. Brandon Otto, Joshua Cotton, row 1, Nicholas Rasmussen, Tony Manji on row 2, Stefan Baranek, Charlie Ryan, row 3, Bruce Hilton, Brandon Wilkinson in row 4, EJ O'Rourke and John Ada through row number 5. Those are your top 10. AJ Bunch, Mike Holtz, Claude Danny DeBuke, Brian Rogers Jr., Justin McDuff through 15th, Cale Fredier, Dale O'Neill, Jay DeBuke, Al Smith Jr., Justin Fuller through 20th, and then CJ LeVere, AJ Hamill, TJ Graves through 23rd on the lead lap. Eric Hag, involved in that accident, is 3 laps down in 24th. He rounds out your field of race cars. Pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn, get down, get out of the way. Odo's in control to the restart box.
And Odo's waiting. It looks like there he goes on the loud pedal. Green flag going to come back out now as we're heading down the front straightaway. Like you said, it's a pretty long one, but these cars will be able to get up to speed and allow them to as they head into turn 1. Right now, it looks like a little bit of contact there between that's Rasmussen. It looks like Manji got kind of, racing the 71, looking to try and get an edge on that outside. Was able to do it and kicks Rasmussen back down to 4th.
And that's Rasmussen push it up the hill, and that's the 92 pinching at the same time. They were on each other's door through the whole corner. Outside prevailed, though. That time, the 92 Tony Manji gets the number 3 spot. Nicholas Rasmussen has to settle for P4. Stefan Baranek, P5 through all of that. Top 10 single file out. First driver out of line. The 12 car way back there in the pack. It's Brian Rogers Jr. He's top side of the 54. Dale O'Neill on the bottom on the offensive.
Yeah, the Mountain Dew machine's trying to get a good run on that outside. Maybe try and get the run out of the corner. Not going to pay off this time, though, as he's going to be up in the wall right behind him, though. Yale Frenier got up and tagged the wall a little bit. Looks like minimal damage to the number 4 machine, but right now he's got a bigger problem because Justin Fuller's coming through on those new tires.
Long straightaways. You need the momentum. You get back to the gas a little bit too soon. You tag the wall. I have a feeling that's not going to be the first nor only time that we're going to see it tonight. Quite a few guys have gotten a little bit high off of turn 2 and turn 4 so far this evening. More so turn 2 than turn 4, although it's a relatively symmetrical racetrack. It just happens to be the way that it works out. Everybody's not that they're playing easy. The top 10 single file, but they are nose to tail P1 through P10. You got the top 9 drivers within a second. The 12 car, though, problems. Spinning on the front stretches, Brian Rogers Jr. He'll spin it around, and Al Smith Jr. goes into the fence as he tries to check up. The caution flag does fly.
Yeah, and that was coming from Justin Fuller, was coming through that pack on new tires. He was riding the 54's bumper, and that kind of forced the 54 to maybe run a little higher gas and just got into the rear of the 61, and that just kind of chain wrecked that whole thing right there, and it looks like just a product of a big bunch of cars right there, what we like to call a hornet's nest.
And we talk about, although they were single file up front, and although they were relatively calm back there, somebody gets out of shape, somebody's faster than somebody else, she gives somebody the bumper. It is very easy for things to is back out. Brandon Otto wanted to pit. He looked down pit road, saw nobody else was coming down, so he had to jump back, break out just like that. So the strategy that we not only see in this Upstate Racing League, but we see it a lot with the short track stuff on iRacing, and that is the limited tire rules that these guys have. 4 additional tires are sitting down in your pit stall. That's it. You can come down, you can get 4 tires, you can take 2 sets of right side tires throughout the race, but there's only 4 virtual Hoosier Racing tires down in the pit stall. So far, nobody has taken them, at least inside of the top 10, top 5. We talked about the 50, but a Fuller trying to come through. Well, Cisco, he had those fresh tires. We talked about that. So that's what gave him the speed advantage. So although it's quicker, you put it in a situation just like that, you're back in the pack. That's where problems happen. A lot of drivers prefer to just stay out there on old tires because clean air is a lot safer than being back on row 10 or 15 or so, depending on how many cars are in the field. Fuller got tires. He was quicker, but he caught up in an accident. That's exactly why I think a lot of guys in the top 10 did not want to come down when he did.
And speaking of getting tires, Jay DeBoot kind of got caught on pit road there. He's going to go a lap down. Looks like he was trying to get some damage repaired, or maybe didn't have a fast enough pit stop, but just kind of got trapped behind the cone as the pace car went by. He's going to lose a lap. Meanwhile, Eric Hagg in the 98, he after that being in that first accident, I guess the car wasn't up to snuff, and he's pulled it behind the wall. He's done for tonight.
And that's another thing that when you talk about pitting at these short tracks, and I'm not sure how much of a difficulty it is at this track, but when you talk about a place like Oxford, which we visited, you can't pit and take 4 tires or you're going to lose a lap out of the caution flag, which obviously you don't want. So that's a primary concern for a lot of these guys as well. Maybe come down, get 2 tires, get back out, take 2 the next time. Nonetheless, he does get trapped 1 lap down. The only other driver that was off of the lead lap was Eric Hagg, who was involved in the accident. The 98 team has pushed that Hagg TV car behind the wall. His night has come to a premature end. He'll have to settle for a 24th. The driver that was down a lap earlier in this race after having a penalized starting spot was TJ Graves. Well, the 22 got a wave by on the first caution. He's up to 14th, so a pretty big improvement.
Yeah, he's having a good run right now. That car looks really clean, which is a great thing for TJ. But going back to that whole pitting thing, I'm kind of looking at the schedule ahead. This track it's a track. It has a normal pit road, kind of what we see on the mile and a half. So, it's one stretch. But looking at places like New Smyrna, Langley, talking about Oxford, we went to a couple weeks ago. Those places, they don't have normal pit roads, Evan. A couple of them go all the way around the track. Oxford, it has like 2 different parts. It's kind of confusing, actually, but it's just an interesting thing to kind of look forward to as as the pace car gets ready to head to pit road.
It'll be 45 down, 55 to go. All regular season races at 100 laps. When we get to the chase, we'll see 2 150-lap events and 1 200-lap event to close it off. 55 laps to go. The 24 of Brandon Auto. Green flag flies back underway, and he's got his teammate right behind him. Something tells me that it was not a coincidence that the 92 of Tony Bonji got a good jump on that one. The iRacing Beam Chevys are out in front. Contact for second. Joshua Cotton not giving up, and he almost drove each other to the fence.
And Wilkinson kind of came over the radio. Meanwhile, behind them, he was saying his pedals came unplugged. And right now, we saw him get a little loose going in the corner, but he's putting a huge block right now on Charlie Ryan in that 16 machine. Meanwhile, Stefan Marinak, he's trapped on the outside.
So Stefan's going to try to get back down in line, and maybe he was hoping to get behind the 16, but a bobble by Charlie Ryan is going to allow the 41 of BJ O'Rourke to close into the bumper of that Jack Daniels machine and basically seal off that opening. A little bit of more contact that time at turn number 4 between the 16 and the 96. This is the battle on the racetrack for P5. It's Charlie Ryan on the inside who had that spot the last time through. Stefan Marinak topside who had to settle for P6. He is up there, but he's actually putting on a very good battle, challenging with that number 16 on the bottom of the racetrack. Problem is, the longer these guys fight double file, the larger the crowd gets behind him. You get about 2 rows deep of side by side starting to gather up behind these two because they've been side by side for about 4 laps.
Meanwhile, Rasmussen and Cotton are still kind of going at it a little bit right here. Kind of those two after that start, they really haven't lost each other. But talking about that pack, looked like EJ gave a shot to the 16 as they came through 3 and 4 that time. He might be starting to get a little impatient here. He knows he has a faster car. He just wants to get through.
And you look at a Stefan Marinak challenging topside like this, you got to think that if he was on the bottom, he would be quicker than the 16 to Charlie Ryan. Not by a lot, but a little bit of a quicker race car. However, the 16 sideways off the corner, a lot of contact. The 41, EJ O'Rourke's going to get spun down the front straightaway. He'll whip it around, and it looks like he avoids any heavy contact. Caution flag is out. We're still wrecking under the yellow. Brian Rogers Jr. is involved. It looks like Justin Fuller may have gotten just a piece, but that was Charlie Ryan talking about catching the apron, and it was a point that we had not made tonight, Cisco, but I wanted to get to it. Left side tires on that yellow line. That quickly goes from 14 degrees to 0. Although 14 does not feel like a lot, it's a lot when you talk about it in relation to 0. Left side tires on the flat there did not work. That car stepped up the hill. Almost got away with it, but the 96 of Aranek tapped the fence. They were 3 wide, and they turned around, and the 41 of EJ O'Rourke went for a ride. I think he was, for the most part, able to avoid any further contact. Ryan and Marinak, though, hard into the wall.
Yeah, and I mean, that just comes as a product. You got the 41 knocking on your door. He's waiting to try and get by and just, maybe you just lose kind of your corner entry, or maybe you're worried about him in just a fraction. You hit that yellow line, and you know this, Evan, and I know this. As soon as you hit that yellow line, it's game over. You're done.
The car is down for damage repair. A couple of drivers outside the top 15 for tires, but past halfway at the USA International Speedway, Brandon Otto leads the NHR 100. Back in a moment, you're watching LSRTV's coverage of the Upstate Racing League Les Enterprises MP Roy Incorporated Pro Late Model Series on iRacing Live.
Truex in the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then.
We're back live at the virtual USA International Speedway tonight at LSRTV and iRacing Live. It's the Upstate Racing League, Les Enterprises MP Roy Incorporated Pro Late Model Series, round 6 of 12, the NHR 100. Evan Pizzoco, Cisco Scaramuza with you, our executive producer Laura Lawson down in the production trailer with you this evening. Lights on the pace car go out. We're talking about 44 laps to go when we come back to the start-finish line. After tonight, 3 races remain till the top 14 drivers make the chase, and everybody else, they're fighting for leftovers. A big step in that direction, though, is this one. And Brandon Otto, Tony Mangi, teammates were lined up bumper to tail there, inside on row 1, inside on row 2. That put them in first and third on the last restart. This time, they're both on the front row, so look for those T-Racing Beams machines to try to orchestrate something, and let's see what Joshua Cott, Nicholas Rasmussen behind him can do about it. The pace car goes down to the way, lap 56, green flag flies back in the air, and just as we expected, Otto ends up P1 and Mangi ends up P2.
Man, it's almost like these guys do this every week, or at least
Almost.
It feels like that. They do this a lot.
Almost like they know what they're doing. It was well executed. Mangi was able to get down to the inside. Not the best start for the 81 of Joshua Cotton, so instead of him being able to challenge for a second, that bottom was wide open. The 81 ends up in third. Behind him, Nicholas Rasmussen in another fight, but there's problems behind these guys. In turns 3 and 4, caution flag will fly, and we take a look to see where that yellow comes from at lap number 57. Hearing Brandon Wilkinson's number 56 machine is involved.
Now, it looks like what happened there is the 54, it looks like, got on the bumper of the 4, and I'm kind of I'm watching the replay right now to see what happened. It looked like Wilkinson maybe thought he was clear or something, but he just comes down into the 4, and that's going to be another caution here.
So the caution flag flies again, and right before we came back, Cisco, I'm pretty sure you whispered that cautions breed cautions, and now as we approach 40 laps to go, you might be looking at a race that in this opening half, we had a couple of cautions, but they were pretty good green flag intervals. Based on your synopsis and based on what we just saw, I feel like those intervals might begin to shorten down now as those guys that got tires really going to be impatient. The guys up at the front, they're on older tires, and they're going to really start to lose the handle on those cars, and there's a checkered flag in front of them. So these next 40 laps, as we group them back up for about the 4th or 5th time tonight, could be fun.
And I came over the mic because I noticed Joshua Cotton is hit pit road along with a lot of some of the cars that were running up there. I'm seeing CJ LeVere, he's down on pit road. Dale O'Neill, he's down on pit road. So I think the strategy calls are starting to be pulled out here, Evan. A lot of people think now's the time to come down and get tires. It looks like LeVere is going to come off pit road. He's going to be your winner off of pit road, but looks like Cotton, maybe he got tired of being up by those guys, wanted to get some fresh tires, so when he gets back up there, he has something for the leaders.
The tire strategy always apart. I'm a fan of the no tires, and you talk about how a race car is not going to handle that good at the end, but I think with the caution flag, I think that no tires is the right call here. We have seen so many times this season somebody lead, and as well last season also, guys be up there. In a 100-lap race, they lead the first 65 laps, they pit, and they get wrecked out. I'm liking the no-tire call.
We've kind of talked about it, and it seems like every week we come down to this kind of, do you come down, take tires or not? I'm kind of, to think about it, kind of put it one way, you come down and you take tires, the car does handle better, but it's also different than what you've been driving for this whole time. And I mean, unlike, say a Gen 6 car, it feels a lot different on tuned tires than it does in kind of the old tires. You kind of get used to running those old tires. You kind of see it, in other series, people come in, get new tires, and then suddenly it's like, whoa, I have way more grip than I was expecting. And they might be, a little sore than they would have been on, say, the race start. So I'd say, it depends on kind of how you're feeling and how quick you think you can get through the pack.
Another restart gets set to get on tap. We talked about Eric Hagg falling out of this race. It's unfortunate. Next week, though, some exciting things. We do have one race left in this 2015 racing calendar next Thursday before we get 2 weeks off for the Christmas and New Year's break. Next week, starting Monday night, though, you fans are going to have a chance. Vote on your favorite paint scheme for the Hagg TV Holiday Paint Scheme Special. The fans are going to be able to go on. You can go to upstateracingleague.com, and that info as well going to be on our Facebook page when it comes to Monday. But upstateracingleague.com, all of the drivers that are going to have their festive paint schemes are going to be up on Monday. You can vote on your favorite one all the way through lap 75 of next week's race, which, by the way, is taking place at the Southern National Speedway, which is new to the sim as of 1 day ago. So we're looking forward to that. Vote for your favorite holiday paint scheme. So more information on that going to be at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. Make sure to check that out on Monday.
And I believe Evan will be wearing his holiday hat, so you can see that.
I don't have an ugly Christmas sweater, though.
Oh,
I'll send you one.
I'll send you one. I got you.
And some of these cars I know from last year, they're going to be quite exciting, so make sure you guys take a peek at those. The pace car's down, though, and it's the In Unison cars. The two iRacing Beams cars still up front, and they take off just like they did last time. 24 to P1, 92 to P2. Oh, close call behind those guys. E.J. O'Rourke and Nicholas Rasmussen not giving each other any room. That's for fourth.
And kind of looking behind them, who's kind of jumped into that picture? Didn't he start a lap down, Evan, that 22 car? And look, here he is in 6th spot, and he's trying to put the moves on that 14 of AJ Bunch, trying to get in the top 5.
He is trying to dig, and contact for the race lead, though, sideways. It's behind him. It's the 92 of Tony Manji. The contact was for second. I told you about a dive bomb move. Well, John Ada waited, and ducked to the inside of the last second. Just about dumped the 92. A spectacular save, and now they're wrecking behind them. The 41 of E.J. O'Rourke. He'll spin around. A lot of contact at a turn 4. The 91 car is going to get turned of Justin McDuff. TJ Graves is involved. The 44 car of C.J. LeVere. Caution flag is out, and I was just about to say, Cisco, that 22 of Graves has been a top 5 car all year. Can't get out of the wrecks. He's involved in this one. It's a big one.
Yeah, and it looks like the 22 and the 14 just had nowhere to go right there. They were just kind of caught up in that and ended up kind of losing control in that inside wall, and the grass wasn't able to stop them. They bounced right back up on the track, and that was just problems right there. Saw the 91 get turned during the caution. And just, that was calamity right there.
And it all started again with the contact, and we said it. Guys are going to get aggressive. Manji goes to the inside. He just out-turns the 92, which was a great save. Or the 92, rather, gets a good save, but he was hit by John Ada in the 97. They were 3 wide. O'Rourke had nowhere else to go, and there was just a whole lot of contact. I'm surprised they even made it that far, because we had so many guys going down to the grass. AJ Bunch and TJ Graves, they were okay, and then eventually they wrecked by the time they got down to turn number 1. So I'm going to place the blame for that one on you, Cisco, because you had just mentioned how good Graves has been doing. His bad luck continues. We've talked about how Eric Hag has not had a good season. He was involved in the earlier accident. So far through half a season, there's a lot of guys that aren't having much fun.
And I'm guessing you're going to put Hag on me, too.
Yeah, I'll throw that one to you as
Okay.
well. We're past the halfway point.
I'm the problem. Okay, I'm the problem. I see how it is.
You got to take the Andy Kessler strategy and just don't mention anybody in specific.
Just pick the people in the back. Well, let's take a look right now at the top 10 running right now. Brandon Odo's leading the race right now. His teammate right behind him, Tony Mangi's running second. Nicholas Rasmussen has been doing a great job. He's holed down third. Mike Holtzclaw, we talked about him. He was kind of sliding to the back. Now with that caution, he's up to 4th place. Justin Fuller, remember, he's on new tires, but he was in a couple of those cautions. Got a little bit of a beat-up nose, but it's okay. We're short tracking. He's P5.
Just behind him, it's Brian Rogers Jr. in 6th. That car looks more like it went through a blender. It's pretty beat up, but still out there inside the top 10. Stafford Marinac in an accident. P7. Bruce Hilton in 8th. 9th is Dale O'Neill. Brandon Wilkinson in 10th.
And right behind them in 11th, that's Joshua Cotton. 12th goes to Dan Dubuque. Cale Frenier, remember, he was in one of those cautions, but it's made it back up to 13th. AJ Hamill started 23rd. He's up to 14th. He's gained 9 spots. And 15th right now looks like EJ O'Rourke. It looks like we're having a couple. Dale O'Neill looks like wasn't scored in the 9th place, but looks like he's up there now.
And O'Rourke had to come down pit road. That'll bump Jay Dubuque up to 15th. The 65 stays out. O'Rourke, Ada, and McDuff all coming down to the pit lane. 16th, 17th, and 18th. And the number of drivers off of the lead lap has dramatically increased in the last couple of laps. Again, we talk about cautions, breeding caution. Guys getting a little bit more aggressive than you would have expected. First off, I don't think you see that initial contact in the opening 40 laps as opposed to the ending 40 laps. Then when you see the 3 wide after that contact, somebody would have probably backed out in the opening 40 laps instead of the closing 40. But again, we're racing for a checkered flag. There's not a whole lot of room at this track as far as when there's people blocking the racetrack in front of you to get around a big one. Still plenty of cars out there to put on a show. There's still plenty of cars out there to wreck, though. This restart going to be with 28 laps to go, 29 laps to go. Actually, when we come back across the start-finish line. Still with Odo and Manji, though, 1-2, those teammates. I think it's going to be very difficult for Rasmussen, Holtzclaw, Fuller through 5th, or anybody else to do anything with them. The biggest thing here, if you're that 71 of Rasmussen, you can't let the 92 get in front of you. I think if those teammates stay 1-2, it's going to be hard to beat them.
Yeah, but, we've been talking about it. How good of a restart are they going to get here? Lights are off on the American Childhood Cancer Organization Ford Mustang pace car. Brandon Odo on the loud pedal. He's coming. Green flag back in the air. We're back racing. It looks like the 92 took a look at the inside there. Maybe either Black Wilkinson or maybe to take a look at his teammate. But now those iRacing meme Corvettes, they run 1-2.
He took a peek at it, but they stay single file, 1-2. Therefore, the top 4 single file. Back to Holtzclaw. Battle for 5th is on, and it's an interesting one. It'll become for 4th, though, actually. The 2 car, not a good exit of turn number 4. Fuller, who was actually under attack, goes on the offensive. He ducks at the bottom of the racetrack. He'll take 4th. Marinac takes P5, and now it's a battle for P6 behind him. The 2 car trying to hold off the 54 of O'Neill. And look at Stefan Marinac. Had speed early in an accident. He's back to the top 4. Made that move on Justin Fuller like it was easy.
Yeah, Marinac is definitely, like I said, he's kind of been lurking around. I always keep an eye on that 96 because he always begins to show up when it's money time, and he's up here right now. He's running 4th, and he's got Rasmussen in sight, actually. But right now, our 2 teammates are leading the way, but Rasmussen, he was riding the bumper in the 92 a little bit, but maybe backed off, maybe trying to save a little bit of tires. Meanwhile, battle behind them. Oh, contact right there. It's the 2 of Holtzclaw on the 52. That's Bruce Hilton. Contact again. 97's involved. Caution comes out.
And they continue to get at each other. Caution flag is back out. Heavy contact in the corner, and we will slow him down once again. E.J. O'Rourke, one of the drivers involved in this one. He'll take the quick tow down to the pit lane. Bruce Hilton as well involved. You'll take a look at that one on the LSRTV replay. Inside, though, of the final quarter of the NHR 100, we pace at lap number 76, and with no surprise, Race leader Brendan Otto, who started on pole and's been up there all night long, not even thinking about pit road. They're going to be coming down to the apron. Do they do it? No. Jumps out at the last second. He wants tires, just not enough to give up the race lead. So he'll lead us back for the restart. It'll be just shy of 20 laps to go. We'll take this opportunity under the safety clean caution flag to step away. We go LSRTV non-stop, so you don't miss a moment of the action. Back for the restart in the moment. You're watching Upstate Racing on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
Trucking has always been a part of me. It started years ago when my dad and granddad were hauling vegetables to market in Liverpool. The family immigrated to Canada in the late 60s and settled near Alliston, Ontario. I bought my first truck in 1982 and Mercer Trucking was born. Today, Mercer Trucking has over 50 trucks in terminals in Toronto and Los Angeles. Our storage facilities at both terminals can handle any size of distribution needs throughout North America. We service the continental U.S., including Hawaii and Alaska. We run over 120,000 miles per month and some of the best equipment on the road today. We specialize in less than truckload shipments, show freight, we do rush team service deliveries, and haul your refrigerated or heated product. Our regular team service from Canada to California is second to none, and our staff and drivers are among the best in the business. I'm proud of our people and what they can achieve. Trucking is in my blood, it's my livelihood, and it's what I do best.
Once its sights are set, nothing can stop the ferocious lion from capturing its prey. Relying on keen senses, lions...
The restart going to come with exactly 20 laps to go. Topside at the USA International Speedway. We welcome you back into the LSRTV booth. We get set to do it maybe just one more time. Brandon Otto, your race leader, trying to go start to finish. Can he hang on? The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down and away. American Ethanol. Green flag flies. We're back at it. And once again, what's that? The third, fourth time in a row, the Team iRacing Beams car beautifully executed out of turn 4, and they remain 1-2 through turn 2.
Yeah, I just wonder how long that's going to last, Evan, because you keep talking about it, fighting for that checkered flag. How long do you think Tony Macchi is going to be content with his teammate winning again?
The 24 a little bit faster this time. That's a 2-3 car length advantage at the start-finish line with 18 laps to go. The top two trying to pull away. If I'm Manji, I'm more concerned about Nicholas Rasmussen at the moment, the driver of the 71. He's been third all night long. He wants to go somewhere. Brandon Otto's been beating him all night. At least for Manji, gone from seventh rather than second. He's had an improvement. Rasmussen has been there all night. He wants to do something about it. He had a little bit of a bobble that time before, though, and now he might be more concerned with the 96 of Marinac.
Couple cars made contact there. That was, I believe, Wilkinson in the 56 and Fuller in the 51. They got a little bit sideways. Fuller's going straight to the back now. Had a huge wallop with the wall there. Wilkinson was able to hang on, but looks like a little bit of contact happened right there. But meanwhile, up front, Rasmussen is all under fire right now from Marinac, who's in fourth. Marinac's starting to show his cards a little bit here as we wind down in this race.
And I know it's difficult to base somebody's line off of just looking at it, but I think there was a little bit of a high entry from Wilkinson based on where the cars in front of him dove into the corner. That's what Fuller was not happy about. Winner from 1 week ago, championship leader, forced down to the pit lane to get service at lap number 84. That basically guarantees him a finish no better of 17th position as he's in for service. Meanwhile, Brandon Wilkinson, the other driver in that party, that started at P4, out on the racetrack beaten and battered, but the Art of Ruin Chevy still chugging along. He is in 9th spot, about 3.8 seconds off of the race lead. So it's the two teammates up front. They're pulling away. It's Odo and Manji lockstep with each other. 1/10 of a second the gap between those two at 15 laps to go. You posed a good question. How happy is going to be Tony Manji if he sits there in P2 for the rest of this race? If he gets to him, I'm not sure how aggressive he'd want to get.
Well, I'm kind of looking at the points kind of situation here with Fuller kind of heading on pit road. That should, at least if the points work out the way I think they will, Nicholas Rasmussen will inherit the points lead as they run right now. Stefan Marinak, he's sitting tied with Manji for 6th, so that would move Manji up the points a little bit right there, maybe into fighting with O'Neill and Thompson. I believe it actually would put him ahead. So big points shakeup right now we're looking at right now if they finish the way they're run right now. But Rasmussen's started to catch up to those front two, and Marinak's been right in his tire tracks doing it.
And we've talked about the Adizon Wraps Rookie of the Year standings. Well, I remember Nicholas Rasmussen, a rookie not all that long ago. He's trying to fix to lead the overall championship through 6 races. He just wants to get to the end of this race in 3rd. Doesn't want to maybe block the number 96 of Marinak and risk getting dumped or something. Just race him, give up the spot if you have to. They'll duck to the bottom on Fuller. Battle for the race lead, though. He looks to the inside. There's contact between the teammates. Tony Manji did it. He jumped that line at the last second, moved the 24 up out of the way, and new race leader for the first time tonight at 10 to go is Tony Manji.
Wow.
I
was not expecting that at all, Evan. I thought he might be a little
I thought he
aggressive,
would've
but
given
not that
him a
much. But
warning
Tony
tap at
Manji's
first.
now your leader.
He just went right at him. I wasn't expecting the battle for the race lead to come that quickly. I thought he would have warned him first. He went right after him. And that 24, great job of hanging on to the race car. He's still second. He'll give him a hell of a hit if he gets back to him.
That's going to be an interesting team meeting on Tuesday.
The gap right now, 4 car lengths, trying to close it to 3, but problem for Brandon Otto is he's going to be running out of time. It looked like when they were running 1-2 that Manji was a little bit quicker. That's why the 92 had fallen off a little bit off of the restart, but then made it back up. Otto, 4/10 of a second out. I don't think he's got the speed to get back to him.
And I'm starting to wonder if Odo has the speed to hold off the guys behind him. They're all running in single file. They're not fighting each other. They want to get to Odo. And we were talking about this is big championship points right now. Every spot Rasmussen gets, he puts spots or points in front between him and Fuller. And then Odo, meanwhile, he's 24 back. He's going to lose more and more points.
And Brandon Otto, surprisingly enough, is still searching for a trip to victory lane on the season. He wants to do those signature burnouts in the iRace to the Beams Corvette, but tonight not going to be the night, it looks like. He dominated this one, Brad Keselowski-esque, but Jimmy Johnson-esque was Tony Manji making the move late. He's got 6 laps to go to get the job done out of 4.
And it looked like Marinak tagged the apron a little bit, was able to hold on to it, but it's kind of a 4-car train there right now behind Marinak, or along with him at least, is Rasmussen's leading that train. Marinak's right behind him, Dale O'Neill behind him. And right now, if you look at the inside, there's Josh Kahn. Remember, he came down and took tires. He's going to dive on the inside. There goes the 54.
Oh, can he save it to 54? He does. What a save by Dale O'Neill. That caution flag would have ended this race. And Dale O'Neill, 90 degrees to the inside of retaining wall, somehow hangs on, and we're still green.
And I think that was the drop the hammer moment for Stefan Marinak, because he's stepped it up now. He's trying to get to the back bumper of that 71 car. I think he knows, all right, I'm no longer under threat. Time to go get the 71.
And that is a saving grace for Brandon Otto, because the 24 beginning to close in. It's going to be 3 laps to go. The next time by the start, put us on as we work down the back straightaway. With that means a caution would end this race. Trying to get to the white flag. The 24, if we stay green, is going to have 6 more sets of corners to get the job done.
And right now, Marinak got a great run off of 4, not going to dive bomb it this time, but he's right on the back bumper of that 71. Maybe a little shot came there, couldn't tell. But here they come off of 2. Those guys are racing really hard right there, right behind each other.
The battle, 1.2 seconds off of the race lead. There it is, the 24. He gives a shot to the 92 with Tony Manji. 2 laps to go at a turn number 4. Lap traffic in front of them. If I'm Nicholas Rasmussen, I'm like blocking it for the win because I don't know the top 2 going to make it to the white flag. Hitting each other again in 1 and 2. Odo on the back bumper. He looks to the inside to turn 3. Tony Manji shuts the door again.
And right now, Odo is driving really aggressively, diving it in right now. They're going to come and take the white flag. This is it. No more cautions. This will not, it will end at the line.
Oh!
There goes the 24. He tags him
moved
down
him!
into 1. They're side by side as they come out of 2.
Brandon Odo with a bump and run in turn 1 on the white flag. The 92, he's got to back off to pay it back to turn 3. The bump and run. He'll move Brandon Odo up the hill. Side by side for the final time. And Odo gets hit. He's in the fence. Tony Manji, turn 4, checkered flag. He'll win it. 3 wide for second across the start-finish line. Brandon Odo still comes home with P2. Rasmussen third. Marinak in 4th. But what a finish amongst those teammates. Brandon Odo hit him about 5 or 6 times, Cisco, in those last 2 laps. And when he moved the 92 out of the way, I knew exactly what Tony Manji would do. And that is not enter turn 3 on the high side, because that doesn't work. He backed it off. He drove it in. He gave him a hell of a shot. The 24 had hung on to it, and they were going to be side by side, but it was that 92 who went to the apron after the contact, pushing up the hill. Manji pushed up and got into him just that one more time, and it sent Brandon Odo into the outside fence, and Tony Manji is our winner at an absolutely spectacular finish.
I'm looking up in the TeamSpeak channels right now, and Brandon Odo and Tony Manji are in the same channel along with AJ Hamill, and I would not want to be AJ Hamill in that room right now. But that was just 2 guys going for the win right there. I think the whole teammate thing was dropped as soon as the 92 got ahead of the 24, and I think they were just racing it out right there.
And with that, probably one of the more exciting finishes that we have seen, and the fun part is that I think we're going to be able to talk to those involved. Tony Manji takes over the race lead at 10 to go. Brandon Odo wanted it, but not enough, I guess. There was a lot of contact there. Manji, Odo, and Rasmussen, your top 3 from USA International Speedway. It'll be a fun post-race show. We encourage you to stick around for the LSRTV wrap-up. We'll be back in a moment and talk to the top finishers in tonight's race. Stepping away, and we'll be right back. Post-race for the NHR 100 at the USA International Speedway, coming back on LSRTV and iRacing Live in just a minute.
Our research shows drivers won a league with no
cheating,
kids wrecking me,
admin favoritism, multiple fast repairs,
intentional wrecks.
Drivers we interviewed also won a league with
clean competitive racing, clear-cut rules,
enjoys having all the drivers,
a full field of drivers,
end-of-year cash purse,
follows the rules on a constant basis.
At Domino's TYJ Racing, we listened to the drivers and created a league with high integrity and professionalism, just like Domino's Pizza has maintained for the last 55 years. Claim your share of the over $3,000 purse by applying today at Domino'sTYJRacing.com for one of the few remaining Cup car rides or your seat in our action-packed truck series.
Yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shake and bake, sleeping on it, should have stayed awake, huh?
Did you know that Lion's sense of vision is so powerful, it actually enables nearby creatures to see better? Here we see lions assisting the offspring of others, while their parents are elsewhere in the wild. Brilliant, isn't it? Making the wild kingdom look much better indeed. Do good, be a lion.
Nick Candy, what a move. Truex on the outside, contact made. 56 slides it into 4. Who's going to be at the stripe? Dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
And we welcome you back live to the virtual USA International Speedway as we try to settle things down from the end of this one. A spectacular finish to the NHR 100. And it was the bump and run. They did it, and they did it plenty of times in that one. A great green flag stretch to the end of this race, an exciting one, and a thrilling finish. These Tony Bongi get the checkered flag. We'll talk to those top two in a minute. First, with our third place finisher, the driver of the number 71, Nicholas Rasmussen goes to the championship points lead after tonight's race, and we've caught up with him. Nicholas, congrats on the third place finish there. Walk us through that final run of this race, because I'm sure you had a front row seat to all that was going on in front of you. We will try to work with the driver of the number 71 to make sure we can get that microphone fixed for him. Was just talking to him in third. He said, Cisco, that in the situation there, he just didn't have anything. And I know that we were talking about the battle between him and Stafford, which kind of gets lost in that finish. But they still came across the line 3/100ths apart. So that was a great fight. He was able to hold off, though, but he said that he didn't quite have the tires to get the win. We'll see if we can catch up with him on the radio in just a moment. In the meantime, you're caught up with our pole sitter, but not the winner tonight. You're with Brandon Otto, who has to settle with second.
Yeah, I'm down here on pit road with Brandon Otto. And Brandon, here, just have the mic. Talk us through those last 10 laps or so.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really want to comment on it much. I'm not happy at all right now. I mean, it was crazy. Lots of contact between me and my teammate there. It was two good drivers going at it. I was just planning on riding around with Tony originally, and he looked to the inside and didn't realize he was planning on being that aggressive that early. And I wasn't expecting him to actually go for that dive bomb and that turn 3 corner, but he did. He made contact with me, and after that, I just wasn't happy. So I was looking to get back up there and do anything I could to get the win. And I want to say, coming out of 4, I wasn't too happy about him not holding his line. I did actually have that coming out of 4, and I don't know. He just didn't hold his line down on the bottom, and ended up coming up with second place.
Well, we did have that finish, but also looking at the point standings, Justin Fuller was involved in one of the accidents, came down, finished 17th. That's going to be a huge gain for you, at least on him, and you're really going to be chasing Nicholas Rasmussen. So a good points day for you, though.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a great points day. Definitely lots of laps led. Thought we had to card the win today, and I mean, looking forward into the championship standings. This is definitely going to help us. I just wish we could have gotten that extra bonus point for a win.
Well, you finished second tonight. Who do you want to thank for that?
I got to thank all my sponsors, iRacing Memes, Pole Position Raceway Buffalo, and everybody that's watching today. I got to thank everybody in Studio 417. Got Chris Platt, Shannon Fay, Ryan Debris, Mary Allen, Nick Graziosi, everybody else that's watching at 417. Thanks for the support, guys. That was awesome. I heard you guys are watching the race up there. Everybody else that's watching, Ed Neal, Kenny Hayna, BJ Antonio, all the guys that's watching, they always follow me off Facebook every week. So, and all the fans up there, just thanks for your support, guys. It means a lot.
All right, well, that's Brandon Otto. Finishes second tonight. Not what you wanted, but still a good night for you.
And on the opposite end of that spectrum, you got Brandon Otto, who comes home in second. And the driver that wins this one, behind the wheel of the number 92, he goes P7 to P1, but it's in the fashion that it went down that everyone's going to be talking about. Tony Bongi, your winner for the NHR 100. Tony, congratulations to pick up the W. You had us just about out of our chairs and screaming at the top of our lungs. I'm not sure if my microphone was able to handle it there. A win by 0.6 of a second, but I mean, there was a lot of sheet metal banging going on there at the end. Walk us through the idea, because you guys were working very good together on those restarts, and then once you got to 10 to go, the teamwork went out the window. It was fun from our end of things. What was it like for you?
Well, it certainly was an interesting race from start to finish. I'm happy we got the 1-2 for iRacing Memes, and of course he is my teammate. With 15 to go, are there really teammates? Yes and no. I was doing my best to try to win. He was doing his best to win. So, we both kind of got agitated, I felt like, and it just kind of turned into some good hard racing. That's usually not the way I like to handle it. I would have rather done it clean, but I did a couple things that got him upset. He did a couple things that got me upset, and it just kind of all escalated. But we got the win, M1-2, which I'm really proud of for our team. So, it was an exciting race from behind the wheel, to say the least.
And it was fun from up here in the tower there. You're able to get the win, and we talked to Brandon, and didn't have a whole lot to say about it other than, just describing what was going on track. For you guys as teammates, though, we saw how good you were able to work together there. Does something like this maybe make it harder for you guys to work together in the future? Because we're just at the halfway point in this season. Winning races now going to give you those points, but when it comes to the chase and it all goes even, I'd like to think that you would like to have some friends out there. So, I mean, how do you walk away from this one and you guys get things back on track with 6 more to go?
Well, I think, again, we got another week to get things back on track, and hopefully we can have a discussion and work it out, for the team's sake and everything. We've got 3 cars that are capable of winning a lot of races, and he is very capable of winning races, of course, a past champion in the series. So, I think him more than anybody has the most experience, and if anybody can come back from a second-place finish and make momentum out of it, it'll be him. So I don't see it affecting us too much. I'm hoping that we can put it behind us, and of course, and hopefully we can turn it into some momentum and kick some butt the next few weeks.
Well, again, congratulations on getting the job done here. Second trip to victory lane. Tony, who do you want to thank?
Got to thank iRacing Memes. I got to thank Brandon and Anthony for all their help this coming week and leading up to this race. So it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully we can continue the momentum. So thanks, everybody.
Well, thanks for sticking around and chatting with us, Tony. Again, congratulations. Enjoy the victory. Best luck. We'll see you at next week when we go racing at a new track for the first time at Southern National.
Yep. Thank you guys so much.
So that is your race winner, Tony Bonci, who comes home with the win. Cisco, good to see if you're able to catch up now with the driver of the number 71, Nicholas Rasmussen, who comes home in third tonight.
Yeah, I believe I have caught up with Nicholas Rasmussen. We got your mic working this time, but walk us through kind of those last 10 laps. We were talking about it, as Evan said, we didn't know if those guys were going to make it to the line, so you did all you could to Black Marinac, but walk us through those last 10 laps. You must have had a pretty good seat for that battle in front of you.
Yeah, that was an interesting race. My long run pace wasn't too good, so at the end my tires was pretty shot. So holding back Stefan was challenging, but I kind of decided to hang back a little because I could see that Brandon and Tony was battling pretty hard, and I kind of anticipated trouble, and of course it happened. So I was side by side with Stefan out of turn 4, and I was just full throttle to the finish line and hoping to cross the line before Brandon. Of course, I didn't do that, but that was an interesting finish to say the least, and I enjoyed the battle a lot, especially with Stefan, and happy with today's result.
Well, you got to be happy because according to our unofficial results, I believe you'll walk out of here as the point leader, so that's got to be a good feeling for you. What's it like being the point leader as we head into, a kind of an unknown, really, a new track in Southern National?
Oh, well, that's, of course, exciting. I'm very happy to be the points leader. I didn't expect that when I went into this season, but of course the consistency has been there. I've done a few laps on Southern National already, and I believe that'll be a very good track for us. So I look forward to that, and hopefully I can defend the points lead. I know I gotta be ahead of Justin Fuller because he's been doing a very good job. Of course, he had a rough finish here today. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week, and happy and proud of the team for being the points leader.
All right, Nicholas. Well, who do you want to thank? You know, you got a lot of sponsors. Who gets it done for you?
First of all, I gotta say a huge thank you to Kasper Trane. He has been putting in a lot of work for the NHR racing team over the last few months. So a huge thank you to you, Kasper. Also, I gotta thank again the team, especially here, because they are sponsoring this race. So happy to bring back a good result for them. I gotta thank Smith Media Productions, Finn Olsen VVS, MP Roy, the series sponsor, Finn Olsen VVS. And once again, a huge thank you to Al Smith Jr. for the huge effort he puts into this league. He really brings his A-game here and puts his heart and soul into this. And finally, I gotta, say thank you to you guys in the booth for always providing a great broadcast. I can't wait to watch it.
Well, thank you for putting on a great show. That's Nicholas Rasmussen. He finishes third right now, and Evan, I'm still kind of reeling from that finish. That was, I think someone in the YouTube comment described it perfectly. We were screaming for that last lap.
Yeah, my poor microphone's still recovering, and I think the drivers are too. I mean, not only was it an exciting finish, but you look at the context of it. You got your defending series champion with his teammate, and the point that I made is they were working so good together up until they tried to kill each other on the last 5 laps. I mean, they were absolutely going at it. And again, Odo makes the move to turn 1. If he makes the move in turn 3, Manji might not be able to get back to him, but he makes the move in 1. Manji has an opportunity to hit him back, so what's he going to do? Of course he's going to hit him back. They would have been side by side out of 4, which would have been amazing until the 92 pushed up that slightest bit on get into him. But, Tony says that there's no teammates after 15 to go. If you agree with him there, then you better not hope Odo's going to be cutting him any slack later.
And I gotta ask you, it did remind me a little bit of Darlington, but looking back at the replay, they come off a turn 2, and Evan, if the 24 stays straight, if he doesn't get into the 92, does he win the race?
They were close coming off the corner. I think on the inside of the racetrack, based on the speed that they had, I think Odo would have gotten it by a little bit. That's assuming that if they made it out of the corner, the 92 wouldn't have doored him. Then it maybe would have been, Ricky Craven and Kurt Busch lodged together at the start-finish line. That's good stuff, though. And we knew USA could provide this kind of racing. So round 6 is in the books. What we don't know is what we're going to see next week at Southern National Speedway, a brand new short track to the iRacing service, just implemented yesterday. A lot of people are just being able to get their first laps on here. I've yet to be able to drive on it. It's a beautiful looking track. I'm excited. We talked about Five Flags being last week. I remember when Five Flags was just added to the service. Hopefully the Southern National Speedway provides some exciting racing. That's where we'll be next Thursday night for round 7.
Yeah, I believe it's a 4/10 mile, but it's really going to be interesting because, we're at a point now where I don't think even the pro late models, maybe about the work week. So let's say Monday night, Tuesday, and Wednesday, where at least the pro late models, if they're scheduled to run there, run there. But other than that, you have to go in, put your own practice time in, or go find a hosted session for it. So this isn't, it's going to be a brand new obstacle for these guys. I think it's going to make for some interesting racing coming up next week.
We look forward to next Thursday night. Until then, though, a wild finish to the NHR 100 has come to a close, and Tony Manji, your winner over Brandon Odo. Odo still winless on the year. Tony picks up his second with the checkered championship. The following 3 will be to determine a championship. UpstateRacingLeague.com, the place to be. Again, remember, on Monday, you can begin voting for your fave flag here tonight. So halfway down, and we got 6 races to go, 3 of which will be before Hag TV Holiday Paint Scheme, and the winner will be announced at the end of next week's Hag TV 100 at Southern National. Until next time, on behalf of the entire LSRTV team and for the crew tonight, myself, Evan Pizzoco, Cisco Scaramuza, and Laura Lawson, we thank you so much for tuning in. Congratulations to Tony Manji, your big winner at the USA International Speedway. We look for more excitement next Thursday night on LSRTV and iRacing Live from Southern National Speedway. We'll see you then.